Here it go again. I was minding my own business, y'all, and boom, this popped up on my timeline. Halle Berry says it's difficult to pay child support to a man who calls her the N-word. You know what? Yeah, that would be a problem for anybody. A little bit of backstory of this relationship. Now, this just kind of came out because she's dealing with these issues because right now they share 50-50 custody with their biracial child, and he has a lot of toxicity, and she was saying it's really difficult to deal with that. So the backstory is she met this dude, Gabriel Aubrey, back in 2010. He was a big a model. I think he was for like Jabot or Gucci, one of them foreign companies that she was a model and he met her. So they got together 2010. Now the relationship only lasted like 5 years. And in between that time, they had a daughter. Now it says here that they had a custody battle back in 2012 and it lasted for 2 years. In 2014, the court, he ended up having full custody of the child at that time. And Halle Berry had to pay this brother $16,000 a month in child support. $16,000 a month in child support, $115,000 in back child support, and $300,000 for his legal fees. And if you guys don't remember the story, Halle Berry was going off on social media how the court system unjustly targets wealthy people in terms of when it comes to child support. Now, unfortunately, she got a taste of what a lot of men in the industry deal with when women target men just so they can get pregnant and have these babies by these men and get it. Basically, the children become a check for a lot of people in these high cases of relationships. And you're right. And I'll talk about how to properly vet a relationship in another one of my videos. But I want to kind of touch on a little bit about this, some of the red flags that we kind of overlook when it comes to relationship. Now, it says here when they was dating, within the first 6 months, they had intimacy issues. And it had came out that this guy was in an incestual relationship with one of his relatives. And then within that year, Halle Berry said that the intimacy was so bad that they only had relations only 3 times a year, that he would criticize her body, degrade her, make her feel bad for, her body, things like that. The question I have for Holly and for anybody that's listening is, why did you continue to have a child with a man when they showed you the signs in the beginning? They didn't get pregnant right away. So that means that she purposely overlooked those signs and continued to force a relationship with this guy when the signs were already there. This happens all the time in relationships, that we ignore the red flags in relationships because we want to be in a relationship so bad. We want family so bad. And because we're trying to heal the brokenness within us. And so we continue to jump from relationship to relationships without ever doing any work, without ever doing any healing. And you know who suffers? The children suffer. Their biological daughter has to deal with these comments and these issues from her biological father. Let me tell you something. If you are sleeping with someone who is broken and they're toxic and you have a child with that person, that's half an issue that you're going to have to deal with within that child, because that seed, even though you may not deal with that parent anymore, you're still going to have to deal with it within that child. That child is still going to be affected by half of that parent, right? Then it goes on to say some more issues by Halle Berry. Halle Berry ended up getting into another relationship with another guy. His name was Oliver Martinez, while she was still going through an issue with this one. So she had even completely cut off that relationship with Aubrey before she got into another relationship with another man. And of course, that relationship only lasted 2 years. They had a child, and it was some more brokenness and some more issues. Halle Berry, sweetheart, you got to be healed. You got to heal your heart. You can't keep jumping from relationship to relationship, hiding within those relationships, trying to heal and self-medicate your hurt in relationships and marriages. We do this all the time, guys. And all we do is keep on producing more children out of broken love, out of broken relationships, what I like to call weaponized love. Weaponized love. We all want to be loved. We all want to be in a family. We all want to be wanted by someone. We all want to be validated. So we get married without doing any work, without getting any healing. And it ends up becoming a weapon a weapon. Love becomes a weapon because you have this pull and this tug to want to be with somebody, but you're broken and you're hurting and you didn't heal, and so you bleed on other people, and we create children, and it becomes a spiral effect because children become birthed out of brokenness and weaponized love. And what do you think is going to produce? More hurt and more wounded and more battered adults. And this is how we get generational curses, right? So I just wanted to talk to people and tell them that, yeah, this was a story. This came out, and I understand because this man ended up becoming a sole winning custody over this child, and he himself was broken. The story says that he never got help. He never acknowledged what was going on, and she shouldn't have had a child. She should have left. She should have ran. No, she had a baby by, and of course, look what happened. Yeah, it's an unfair court system that makes us pay child support when we shouldn't. Everything's broken. The whole system is broken. If you ain't got Christ, if you ain't got Jesus, and if you don't do it the way God tells you to do it, it's always going to end up like this. Always. Don't matter if you're black or white, rich or poor. Don't matter. Same outcome. Sin produces death. God, Jesus, the word of God produces life when it comes to any type of relationship, but especially with marriage. I just want to tell people these stories that come out is just a constant reminder that what we are doing is not working. Marriage is God's product. It comes from him. So in order for you to have a successful marriage, you need to get the rules and regulations from the person who created the marriage. We can't keep having children and thinking that's going to help the situation. Listen, you should have ran 6 months to a year, but we didn't. It's unfortunate that we deal with biracial issues. My wife has a biracial child with her first husband, and he was toxic. He was abusive, and he was a domestic abuser for years with my wife. And when we had custody of a child at that time, he wouldn't even see the child, to the point where my wife stopped even taking him over there because he would never show up to the door, and the child kept getting disappointed. And you know what the abuser did? He used that and said that my wife was trying to kidnap their child. And you know what happened? The court system took her son away and gave it to an abuser. And our child is still dealing with emotional issues and psychological issues because of that monster. And my wife will admit that she should have never had a child by this man. She knew that this wasn't a toxic person, but because we are broken and we have hurt, I myself has had hurt in relationships and shouldn't have been with people that I knew I shouldn't have been with, and I pushed it. Thank God I didn't have children with all of the people that I was with. But we are broken. We are hurting. My message: stop. My friend told me this statement. He said, if you don't know what you're doing, you won't know when to stop. Such a profound statement. Because we don't know what we're doing in relationships. We don't know what we're doing in marriages. We don't know when to stop getting into them. We need to stop, get the word of God, heal us. Because you know what? Marriage is not a requirement for happiness. You don't have to be married to be happy. You don't have to be married to do what God has called you to do. It's an option. So we need to stop getting into these marriages, stop having these children, and get into the word of God, find a purpose for our life. And we need to stop this so things like this won't keep happening. You got me?